This episode of Video Marketing Madness is made possible by Aweber. Aweber is the easy way to do email marketing, build your list, and keep in touch with your customers. If you want to learn more, you can head on over to raythevideoguy.com/Aweber. And on today's show, we're going to talk about embedding videos on your website.
He's Ray the Video Guy, yeah, Ray the Video Guy. His skill is where it's at, even if he's a little fat. He's filled with video expertise and has so much knowledge that you need. His YouTube ninja tricks can make your marketing so sick. He's Ray the Video Guy, yeah, Ray the Video Guy.
It's the radio show about Video Marketing Madness with Ray the Video Guy, and I'm Steve Sleeper. You can like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Video Marketing Madness. Follow us on Twitter at Video MKT Madness. Get plenty of useful tips and news of the week. And embedding stuff on a website, YouTube videos, important stuff. There's all kinds of tricks.
Yeah, you know, there really is. A lot of people don't realize it. They just kind of grab that embed code, they throw it up there, and they think they're done with it. But there's a lot of cool stuff that you can do with it, some of which has actually changed recently, but a lot of it is still completely valid, and you can have some fun with it.
Okay, well, cool. Hey, I got a little bit of news of the week.
Excellent. Let's do it.
News of the week.
Well, 6 new things in YouTube, and one of them is brand new. I think we just found out about it yesterday, and I'm going to read the press release I got from Google AdWords. Unifying TrueView video campaigns and AdWords. This is huge. It's going to make things just a lot simpler. You have the option to upgrade your AdWords account so you can create TrueView campaigns the same way you create other AdWords campaigns. It's just going to make it a lot simpler. And
Nice.
if you don't update it now, they're going to do it automatically for you starting in October. So
So in other words, just be lazy and don't bother.
yeah, well, like us.
That's right.
You can now create and manage TrueView campaigns under all campaigns in AdWords with the new video campaign type. Video campaign creation will now require the use of ad groups, which will replace the targeting groups currently used in TrueView campaigns. This is pretty big. Each ad group will consist of a single TrueView format, in-stream or display, to allow for easier optimization. That's good. Introducing powerful new reporting, automation, and bulk tools. Video remarketing, YouTube account linking will be easier to access. So, good stuff.
Yeah, should be. I mean, they're putting a lot of effort into the advertising, and we're seeing a lot of good results. So, excellent.
Yeah. And then the other 5 things are things that we've talked about before, but Dave Walsh released a video on it this week, and I thought it'd be good just to encapsulate it again, because I saw that 5 things, and I thought, geez, I wonder what that is. And I thought, well, we've talked about that before, but I think there's some value in just quickly encapsulating the other 5 things.
Very cool.
The player bar, they've changed that lower thirds.
Yep, and that's actually one of the things we'll talk a little bit about later as well.
Yeah.
Because that's part of the deal.
I told you there'd be a good segue for that. And one of the things that Dave points out, and if you want to watch his video and get all the details, it's on the Facebook page and the Twitter page. But he said, be careful when you do lower third graphics. You might want to move them up just a little bit.
Yeah, we discovered that the other day, because now even on the standard player, the actual play bar comes up over the bottom part there. And if you've got a clickable graphic, you're not going to be able to click on it anymore. So you definitely have to be aware of that.
So that's fairly new. The 301 Plus we talked about before. They're going to count views in real time. When your views would get stuck at 301, well, that's gone. You don't need Google Plus to have a YouTube channel, although you do need Google Plus if you want managers for your YouTube channel. YouTube Live, we talked about that last week, but it's they're making live streaming a lot easier so they can compete with Twitch and Periscope and Meerkat and Blab.
And by the way, just for the record, unless they're planning on changing it again, they're failing.
Are they?
It's
Okay.
it's different, but it's not necessarily a whole lot easier.
You like Periscope, don't you?
I've enjoyed Periscope so far. It's been a fun little place to be.
Yeah, yeah. And then there's a new game app for gamers, YouTube game app for gamers.
Yeah, I was actually checking that out the other day. It's a pretty slick little thing they've got going on there.
Okay, so let's talk about the embeddable player.
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about that, and I know it's not doesn't sound like the most exciting topic in the world, but it is one that we do need to talk about. It's one that we need to pay a lot of attention to because, quite frankly, we're embedding videos everywhere. Now, to get a few things out of the way, there are some options for embedding YouTube videos aside from the actual YouTube player, and some of those have some great reasons. There's some great reasons why you'd want to do that. You know, my personal favorite is Simple Video Pro, which is a WordPress plugin for now that allows you to embed your videos and add all sorts of interactivity and sharing and buttons and opt-ins and just a whole lot of fun stuff. And it's my personal favorite. And if you want to use something like an MP4 video on S3 or a YouTube video, it's a great way to be able to embed it on your website very quickly and very easily. But today we want to talk more specifically about the actual YouTube embedded player because while a lot of us know how to jump onto YouTube, grab that player, grab that code and slap it onto our website, a lot of people don't realize that there's a whole bunch of things that you can do with that player to make it even better than it is out of the box. And unfortunately, it does require that you do a little bit of code writing inside your website, but it's really not all that hard.
Yeah, don't let that scare you, code.
Yeah, don't let that scare you because you're already halfway there by grabbing that code that's on the YouTube site and pasting it into your site. You're already halfway there.
Right, right.
So, Steve, how often do you use the actual Facebook or actually the actual YouTube video player?
As far as embedding it,
Yeah.
I mean, from time to time, I've got some lead generation sites, and I use it, quite often, probably.
And just so you know, there's a lot of reasons that you would want to use the embedded player and get it onto your website. I mean, it actually can help you to rank your videos by having them embedded in places. So there's a lot of great value to embedding whenever you can. And like I said, there's a lot of great things you can do with the embedded player to help make sure that you get the most out of it and that you can have a little bit of fun with it as well.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of neat things. And so I wanted to talk about some of these parameters that you can add to your video player to make a big difference in it. One of the things that people ask about all the time, and this is probably the biggest one, is those related videos that are at the end of your video.
Oh, yeah.
So in other words, you've got, let's say you're working for a plumbing client, you created this great video for his plumbing business, you put it on his website using the YouTube embedded player, and then at the end it shows, that little Brady Bunch box of the 9 squares on it, and 6 of them are competitors on his website. That can kind of ruin the moment.
It does.
It does, and it can be a real problem as far as keeping traffic on your site and not going around and, and helping your neighbors to get traffic, because you don't want to be doing that.
Love your neighbor, but if they're a competitor, you don't have to love them too much.
That's right. Yeah. You don't have to do it too much. Yeah. So one of the things you can add to your code is what's called a rel parameter, REL. And what that means is that when you copy that embed code, and by the way, because this is a kind of a visual thing and we're talking on the radio, we're going to put a list on the Facebook page that you can download to kind of see some of these things and understand them a little bit better than you might over the radio. But that first parameter, the REL parameter, what you want to do is on your embedded code that you get from YouTube, look for the URL of the video in there. So it's going to say, http:// YouTube, blah, 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 blah. Go to the end of that URL. And what you want to put is you want to put a question mark at the very end of it. And what that does is that tells the web browser that there's going to be a parameter added to that URL. And this is not just for the YouTube player. This is kind of a in general sort of deal with web browsers. You put that little question mark at the end of the URL inside the embed code, and then you put REL equals 0. And the two options on there are equals 1, which is where it shows all of that related content, or equals 0, where it will not show the related content. So if you add that to the end of it, a question mark, REL equals 0, then you will no longer show the related videos at the end of your video. So it'll keep it nice and clean. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the first ones that people always ask about. The other one people ask about all the time is how do you make the video autoplay? Now, I know if you're using certain website tools, certain WordPress themes and whatnot, they'll actually have the option to just do this automatically. But if you're just embedding the video into a website and you want to add an autoplay, then what you want to do is the same thing. At the end of that URL, instead of putting rel equals 0, you're going to put autoplay, one word, equals 1. And when you put a 1 in there, that means it's going to autoplay. Now, before we continue with any of this stuff, one thing to note is, what if you wanted to do more than one thing? You want to autoplay and you don't want to show the related videos at the end. Well, if you want to put more than one parameter on the video, then what you want to do is at the end of that URL, again, you put the question mark, you put the first one, in this case we'll say rel equals 0, then you're going to put an and symbol, the ampersand, which is the shift 7 on your keyboard, makes the little and symbol. And then after the and symbol, you're going to put autoplay equals 1. And then if you put a third parameter, you put another and then put your parameter in. So that's how you kind of string these parameters together. So it'll be question mark, parameter 1, and symbol, parameter 2, and symbol, parameter 3, etc., etc. And that's how you can begin to kind of customize this player. Steve, does that make any sense? I know this is a very visual type of thing.
It does make sense. The question mark is the beginning of the string, and then if you want to continue the string, you add an ampersand to your command.
Nice.
Yeah, and again, Ray's going to post this. He's going to put together a sheet and post this on our Facebook page. We'll get it on the Twitter page too, so you'll be able to easily find it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, but there are, of course, even more parameters that we can add. So the next one I want to talk about deals with the branding. Now, as you may know, when you put a YouTube video on your website, it has that little YouTube link in the corner that people can click and go back to the YouTube channel. A kind of a funny parameter is that you can actually remove that YouTube logo. Now, be careful with this because YouTube's terms of service kind of states that they want you to keep that on there, but you can turn it off if you choose to. And in this case, you're going to put modest branding. And that's all one word again, modest branding. And then you can put either equals 1 or equals 0. Now, now notice it's called modest branding. So in this particular case, what you're going to want to do is put a 1 to remove the logo. So in this case, it's kind of like the opposite of the other ones, because you're telling it you want modest branding. So you want modest branding turned on, which is a 1, and that will remove the YouTube logo from the video.
And this is part of your string at the end of the URL, right?
Yes, this is, again, it's just part of that same old string. Okay. Now, another parameter that we can add to this, and this is where we can get to some fun things here, okay? What if you wanted to have a video that doesn't play all the way through? You wanted to start at a certain time, or you want it to end at a certain time.
Oh.
Well, believe it or not, you can actually do that as well. And you can do that by adding another little code to the beginning or end of your video. And what it'll do is it allows you to put the time that you want to start it or end it at. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what you would do, let's say you wanted to, you you wanted to end it at 2 seconds into the video. Well, again, at the end of your parameters, you're going to put that ampersand or the question mark, and you're going to put end equals 2. And on the other side of that, you can put start equals whatever, 1, 2, 5, 10. And that, again, will allow you to start or end the video at a certain time. And it's not exact. It's based on seconds. So if your video is 2 minutes long, you'd want to do, maybe you want to have it start or end at 120 seconds. So you're not going to be able to get it down to the perfection there, but with the number of seconds, which is a nice, easy way to do that. So,
and again, this is part of the string at the end of the URL, correct?
That is at the end of the URL,
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, another fun little thing you can add to this is the controls parameter. Now, when I say controls, what I mean is, the little buttons that you have on your video, okay? You can actually decide whether or not you want people to be able to stop, play, pause, and all that with the little buttons and the bar at the bottom of your video. And the way that we do that is we put the word controls, and if you put a 0, there's none. If you put a 1, it shows them. And if you put a 2, it shows them after it starts. So you got 3 different parameters there. And so if you want to remove them, you can put a 0 and it won't show the controls on the player.
Oh, cool.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And, honestly, for me, I always leave it the way it is. I like people being able to control stopping and starting. But a lot of folks, they just want to be able to, force people to either watch it or walk away. And so if that's you, that's how you can do that.
Yeah,
you can make sure that works that way.
Well, and it's your own particular taste buds and initiatives as well. So, yeah.
Sure. Now, did you know that you can actually add playlists to your parameters as well, even if you're not talking about a normal playlist that you would pick up from YouTube?
I did not know that. Now when
Yes.
I paste a playlist on a website, I just pick up that code. There's a place where you can pick that up, but you can you can also do that as part of the string on a video.
You can.
Oh,
you can.
I didn't
There's
know
a
that.
few different. Yeah, there's a few different things you can do with that. So what you want to do is you're going to need to get another video. So you're going to get that video code, which is that string of letters and numbers at the end where it says V equals and then a bunch of nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
You'll need to have the bunch of nonsense to be able to do this.
Oh, okay. V equals watch ? Or something. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. So, and the numbers and letters. Okay, yeah.
And on top of that, you can actually also loop the playlist as well. So, yeah. So what you need to do is, again, at the ampersand, you're just going to put playlist equals and then put in that string of code.
I see.
And if you want to do more than one, you can actually put a comma and then put another one, comma, put another one, and it'll play it like it's a playlisted video.
So you can build your own playlist within that code. You don't have to be reliant on a playlist within your YouTube channel.
That's right. Kind of crazy, isn't it?
Crazy, man. Crazy. That's cool. I did not know that.
I did not know that.
I did not know that.
Weird, wacky, wild stuff.
It was wild, wacky stuff.
And on top of that, by the way, you can also loop the playlist as well. So in other words, if you want the playlist to just keep repeating itself,
Got it.
You can put in a loop parameter, which would be loop equals either 1 or 0. So 0 being it will stop, 1 being it'll loop the videos. So you would put, again, you'd put either the question mark or the ampersand, you'd put loop equals 1 or loop equals 0, and playlist equals, and then that set of numbers.
Now, here's the deal. I'm envisioning this because I can't tell you how many times I've rewritten that embed code. If you're not envisioning it, don't worry about it. We'll have a sheet with all this information on our Facebook and Twitter pages. And Ray will get that done just as soon as he can.
Absolutely. So that'll be up there, hopefully in just a little bit.
Okay,
so we've talked a little bit about some of these kind of fun things that we can do with this. Now, when we're talking about some of the other little things we can do with YouTube, for instance, what if you had on YouTube itself, you have annotations, but when you embed it, you don't want to have those annotations. you can turn off the annotations. You can force them to be turned off.
Oh.
And the way that we do that is, and this is a kind of a long one, the parameter is LV underscore load underscore policy. Okay.
Underscore policy. Okay. LV underscore. Okay.
Yeah. And
you'll have it in
oh, sorry,
writing.
go ahead.
You'll have it in writing.
Oh, yes, absolutely. We'll definitely have that in writing at the end here. But what that allows you to do is that allows you to either turn it on or turn it off. And the parameters are 1, 2, or 3 for that. And so that will, again, will help you to get rid of some of that stuff.
Yeah, that's cool.
And another thing is the closed caption, which is a very similar type of deal, except instead of, and oh, I'm sorry, and did I say LV? Because it's IV.
IV.
Not LV.
Okay.
I think I said LV.
You said LV, but it's IV.
Yeah, IV, like Roman numeral 4.
Yeah.
So what that does is where the 1, and to go back, is the 1 shows the video annotations and the 3 does not.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Okay.
Uh-huh.
So the same thing with the closed captioning, except instead of the LV, it's going to be, excuse me, I keep saying LV, IV, it's going to be CC for closed captioning underscore load underscore policy. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And what that's going to do is that's going to allow you to turn those closed captions either on or off, and you can force them to be turned on or off. Okay. So the 1 turns it on, and that'll force people to see it. The 0 turns it off.
Okay.
So 0 and 1.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's not too bad, is it? It's
not too shabby at all.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Another thing that we can do, and this is something that might affect people every once in a while, is on the YouTube player, when you put that on your website, at the very top, you're going to see the name of the video. It's going to be in like white lettering. It's going to give you the name and some information.
Yeah.
You can turn that off as well so that you don't have to force people to see that. And the way we do that is show info, all one word, show info, equals 1 or equals 0. And the 0 being does not show on the player.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
It is. It's so exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, well, for me it is because I'm a geek and a nerd. Well, and the other thing, here's the takeaway. Ray's going to put together a written sheet on this. Like I said, it'll be in our on our Facebook, the radio station fan page, or the radio station, the podcast fan page, and the Twitter page. Facebook.com/video marketing madness, Twitter @video MKT madness. Download that sheet and save it because it'll come in handy. And just remember what he's talking about because this coding comes in handy from time to time. Believe me, if you're doing any kind of YouTubing at all, chances are you're dealing with at least simple landing pages, and you'll want to know this stuff. I just picked up 3 or 4 things I can use right away, so that's important. And I have a little folder on my computer called Training, full of all kinds of PDFs that are handy.
Sure. Excellent. Well, and now here's another parameter that I want to talk about.
Oh, wait, there's more?
There is more. Of course there is.
Oh. Say now.
Yes. This one is kind of interesting. If you've ever been on a website that has an embedded video and you've accidentally hit the space bar, you'll notice that sometimes it plays the video or it pauses the video and kind of drives you crazy.
Yeah.
But you can actually turn off the keyboard controls as well so that people can't accidentally skip forward. And that includes the arrow keys because a lot of people don't realize if you use your arrow keys, you can actually jump ahead 10% in the video by hitting the right arrow key.
Right.
You can volume up by hitting the up arrow key, things like that. You can turn those things off by adding a parameter of disabledkb. And if you want to disable that, it's the equals 1. So disabledkb, all one word, equals 1. By default, that's set at 0, which allows people to control by the keyboard.
K as in kitty, B as in Batman.
K as in keyboard, B as in board.
Okay. K and B. Cool.
Yeah, so that's just another one, and that can actually really help because every once in a while you run into one of those situations where you're kind of stuck, and every time you type anything, you're messing with the video, and that just allows you to get rid of that, which is nice, very nice.
Yeah, very good stuff, Ray.
Oh, it's like I said, it's very exciting.
Yeah. I'm digging it, man.
Now, one other one that we can talk about, and this one is one that removes, it kind of hides the play bar at the bottom, and that's called auto hide. Again, all one word, and there are 3 values for that one. The 2, which is the default, and what that does is that allows it to fade away. The 1 hides the progress bar completely, and then the 0 actually just keeps it on there the whole time.
Okay.
So that's another one that can help you out if you want to get rid of that bar or if you want to make sure that it stays around. Now, there are some old ones. There may be some people wondering why we haven't talked about certain ones here. In the old days, there used to be one called color, and that allowed you to actually change the color of the progress bar, of the video bar. But with the changes recently that we talked about earlier, some of that goes away because now it's semi-transparent anyway.
Yeah, okay.
So we don't have to worry too much about that anymore.
Yeah.
And the final one I want to talk about is the full screen parameter. And this is done with an FS. So literally it's just FS, that's it. And this one actually does not work with the HTML5 player. So it's an older one. If you're still using the older player, you can use the FS, and 1 is the default, and you can also set that to 0, and that changes whether they can go full screen or not. But again, with the modern one, it's not really necessary anymore.
Okay.
So there you go.
Okay. Okay.
And that's it. Those are the main ones that we have to deal with. There are some kind of weird, more advanced ones, but we're not going to get too much into those just because we don't mess with them too much. They deal with JavaScripting and things like that, and just a little bit too advanced for most people, especially if you're just putting a video onto your website. So
Especially me.
there you go.
There we go. Yeah. So, and the reason we do an audio podcast is so that you can passively listen to this while you're doing whatever.
Sure.
In my case, sleeping. No, wait a minute. That was a joke. That wasn't a very good joke. In my case, while I'm walking, I like to listen to podcasts and things of that nature. So, and this is something that you don't have to actively worry about remembering. Just know that there's a bunch of these and kind of remember what they are, because we'll have them on the Facebook page, facebook.com/video marketing madness. Twitter at Video MKT Madness. If you haven't liked or followed us, do that. We will have Rail have that sheet up there, and then we have all kinds of great info that we post on a daily basis.
Yes, indeed. So it's a lot of fun, and like I said, you can have some really cool things going on with that player, and do some things that you may not have known about. Now, here's something else I want to talk about very briefly that doesn't have to necessarily do with the embedded player, but there are some hidden things about the video player in general that a lot of people don't realize. And one of those things deals with the keyboard, as we talked about. Believe it or not, and most people don't know this, your number keys at the top of your keyboard, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, they can represent percentages of your video. So in other words, while you're watching a video, if you hit the 1, it's going to jump to 10% into your video.
Oh.
If you hit the number 2, it's going to go to 20%, 3, 30%, 4, 40%, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so that's just something I wanted to kind of mention, because a lot of people don't realize that that option exists to be able to do that. And it's, like I said, it's not necessarily something to deal with the actual parameters in the player, but it is something code-wise that we can deal with using the player. And that works, on the actual player on YouTube. It works with the embedded player. So you can do some of those things when you're watching a video. If you need to jump halfway through, all you have to do is hit the number 5 key, and it'll jump right to the middle of your video. So there you go. It's just another little secret. And the final thing, again, this has nothing to do with the embedded player, but it is one of those secret little code things. In YouTube itself, when you're on an actual YouTube page, so watching an actual video, when you're doing a comment at the bottom of the video, if you put in a time, so for instance, 0:15, and save that, and this goes into the description as well, not just into the comments, then that turns into a link to link to that time in the video.
Right, right.
And this can be kind of cool in the description if you wanted to do almost like a DVD menu sort of deal. Like maybe you've got a top 10 tips. You could put tip number 1, 0:03 because it starts at 3 seconds. Tip number 2, 0:10 because it starts at 10 seconds, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And again, that's not necessarily dealing with the player on your website, but it does deal with the some of the hidden codes of YouTube itself. So I thought it was kind of appropriate to at least bring it up and mention it here.
Yeah, and again, that's in the description, and you can put the time in there, and it's actually a hyperlink that will take them to that part of the video. So, and the format is 00:00, right? I got that right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it could be 1:12 for a minute 12, that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And we've actually used that for training videos. We were doing plumbing training videos, and you could jump to the different steps by clicking on those in the description.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you want to get really clever, and this takes a lot of planning, let's say you want to do a top 10, make sure each one is exactly a minute long, and then your keyboard hit number 1 will take you to the first one, number 2 to the second one, et cetera, et cetera. Actually, that wouldn't be 10 minutes, that'd be 11 minutes long, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
So you could play around. If you're really good with timing, you could do something like that and have a lot of fun with it and jump between. But again, that's kind of geeky, but certainly something fun you could potentially do.
And have no life, like me.
And have no life. That's absolutely true.
Well, good show, Ray. Yeah. Did you get everything in there?
I think so. I think we got everything we needed in there, and that's like I said, this may not be the sexiest, most ear-pleasing podcast as far as that goes, but it's a very informative bit of information that everybody doing video marketing really needs to hear, and hopefully you got a lot out of that. So I appreciate the opportunity to share that with everybody, and hopefully you will put it to good use and not to evil.
And profit from it. Yeah, and not for
and
evil.
Profit from
and
it.
Profit from it. Yeah. It's the radio show about video marketing madness with Ray the Video Guy, and I'm Steve Sleeper. Today's show made possible by...
Today's show is made possible by Aweber, the easy way to do email marketing, build your list, send newsletters, and keep in touch with your clients. If you want to start doing your email marketing correctly, then try out Aweber. All you have to do is head on over to raythevideoguy.com/Aweber, and you'll be able to get a 30-day trial for only $1.
And I'll mention the Facebook and Twitter pages again for the 100th time. Video Marketing Madness for Facebook, at Video MKT Madness for Twitter. Ray will have the sheet on all the codes.
Yes.
And we post lots of great information there every day. We've got how-to videos from Daryl Eves and David Walsh. I keep a repository of interesting articles, and we do that every day.
We do. And one more thing that I want to mention before we get out of here today is for those of you who kind of caught on to this at the beginning, we mentioned Periscope.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. And I actually meant to do a Periscope behind the scenes again today, and I totally forgot when we got started to go and do that. But we'll probably start doing that every once in a while as we're doing this live. But I wanted to mention Periscope because I decided to do something kind of interesting that the audience may want to jump in on. I've created a page on my website. It's at raythevideoguy.com/ask. And what you can do is you can go there and you can record me a message, an audio message, asking a question about video or marketing or anything else really. And I will answer those questions on a live Periscope. And for doing that, you'll actually win a prize package if your question gets featured on a live Periscope. And of course, if you don't have Periscope or you don't know what it is, well, you need to figure it out because, boy, I'll tell you, I'm enjoying it, and it is a great program for doing these quick live feed videos. And a lot of our good friends are doing it. Casey Zeman does them quite often. And it's a great way to really connect with people and to deliver a message and interact, and highly recommend it. But if you want to ask a question, ask the video guy at raythevideoguy.com/ask.
Very cool.
Yes.
Yeah, so go ahead and do that. And why don't we wrap the show up here with a jingle?
Let's do it.
He's Ray the video guy, yeah, Ray the video guy. His skill is where it's at, even if he's a little fat. He's filled with video expertise and has so much knowledge that you need. His YouTube ninja tricks can make your marketing so sick. He's Ray the video guy, yeah, Ray